In this segment, I'm going to install the Yak-Power power panel into my Hobie Compass. Follow along. So these are the components I'm going to be using. I'm going to use the Yak-Power power panel. Going to use a 4-foot power port and an 8-foot power port. And Yak-Power is actually a company that listens to its customers. Last year when I installed the Yak-Power system in my other PA, the issue that I had was that the cord from the controller to the relay module was just too short to place the module anywhere other than right next to the controller. So I asked them if they could come up with a cable so that I could give myself a little bit of distance between the two. That way I can put the relay module somewhere else in the kayak. They listened and they came out with the 6-foot extension control cable. So that's great. Now I can place the relay module somewhere else farther away. Gives me some room to pull the bucket in and out. The other thing, a USB port. We'll be installing that in the bucket as well with the controller. For this install, it's going to be pretty basic. The only things that I'm really going to be controlling is the power to the Burley Pro orb to light up. With this one, I'll probably won't be doing any night fishing, but I probably will be going out early in the morning, so that'll give me a little bit of light to go that way. At this point, I haven't decided whether I'm going to install lights inside the hull or not. As it stands right now, I'm not, so we're not going to worry about that at this moment. The other thing that we're going to control is the power to the Lowrance Elite TI unit, and we'll also need power to 0.1 system. The 4-foot cord is going to be where we're going to get our power from. I'm going to continue using the Yak-Power lithium battery attached to my H-crate and power through that way. I'll show you that setup as we go along. First thing I need to do is decide the location where the port's going to go for my main power supply. As I said, I'm going to be powering everything off of the Yak-Power lithium battery, which I've got housed in the Pelican case attached to my H-crate, and power comes out. I'm going to be using the 4-foot power port cable. Now there's a couple locations I can install it here. I got to install it flat up here, but I don't like that because water can sit there. I think I like the location right about here. Keeps it high enough up, and should any water sit in here, splash in here, at least it's not going to be resting in it, and it's a convenient location to plug it in. So I think I'm going to go with right about there. I neglected to hit the record button before I did the install, but it's simple as marking it and drilling through. I use a step drill. The one thing I neglected to mention in previous videos is before you drill, try to feel in behind where you're drilling to make sure that there's none of the rudder cables or anything running in behind there that you might clip while you're going through. I checked this out before. The rudder cables are actually down here, so I'm good up in this location there. Next thing I need to do, I just need to reach in and fish the line from that power port up through to the center hatch area and mark that. I'm going to be running another power port from the back for the Burley Pro orb and running that, and I don't want to get those two confused. I just got to stretch my arm in here, see if I can find it. If not, I'll have to get a wire. Okay. It's far enough back. Try the old coat hanger trick. That worked. The next one will be a little trickier. It's going to be farther back, and there's no back access. So I'm just going to put a piece of tape on this so that I know that this is my power cord. I'm going to use the 8-foot length power port for this location. Got a little farther to go up to the front, so that's what I'll use. On the PAs, this is flat back here, so in the center is a perfect place to put it there, but it's a little bit of concave or on an angle here, so I'm going to just put it off to one of the sides just a little bit. Simply mark my location. I've got a number of cables back here for the rudder, so I'm going to take this slow and get through and just have a peek. Not seeing anything back there. It'll still go slow. Do a little test fit, see how further I got to go. That's perfect. The other thing that you want to be cautious of is when you loop your wire back, make sure that you're not wrapped around any of the rudder cables that could affect how your rudder deploys or how it operates. Simply use the 2 screws provided to fasten it in place. Let's see if we can fish that all the way up. Alright, this one's a bit farther back. I had to get a longer hanger. We'll see how my snagging skills are. And there it is. Power Burley Pro Orb. Next, I'm going to install the controller and USB port into the bucket. You want to install the controller as low in the bucket as you can go. It just makes it easier to get the bucket in and out. If it's up higher, you're not going to be able to get the bucket in and out. So put it as close to the bottom as you can. You're going to need a 2 1/8 inch hole saw, and I believe it's a 1 inch saw or 1 inch drill bit or step drill to install the USB port. I've already marked my location where I'm going to put the controller. So just use the 1 1/8. Go slow. There are 3 screws that secure the controller in place. It has these flip up tabs. When you turn the screws, they flip out and pull it tight. Okay, they're all secure in place. Let's move on to the USB port. Same goes for the USB port. Try and keep it low in the bucket. With the port installed, just add the locking ring. Just test that our bucket will go in and out. Now let's move on to installing the relay module. Since the Compass doesn't have a mass post or anywhere close by, or a scupper hole close by that I can fasten the relay module to, I'm going to take a piece of pool noodle foam and I'm going to have that as a post wedged up under the seat here. Give the floor a little bit more support as well, but that'll give me something to secure the module to. To secure the module to the foam, I'm just going to use a couple wire ties. That should hold that in place. Put this underneath. There you have it. That's what it looks like installed underneath. Well, we got this out. We'll do a few little hookups. The few things that we've got to consider is which ports or which switches we're going to use for what component. For me, I'm going to use, number one is going to power my Lowrance unit and point 1. Number 2 will power the USB, and since the Burley Pro orb is going to be at the stern, I'm going to use S for the Burley Pro orb. I'm going to use the 6-foot extension cable to attach the controller to the relay module. Simply plug in. Make sure you get it seated in there properly. Screwed on. The one thing that you have to be cautious of is your power supply. The way I'm using the power ports, they're not designed to receive power, they're designed to send power to units, so the positive and the negative are a little bit backwards. It happens to work out for me because the way my battery actually plugs into the port, the positive actually plugs into the negative, and the negative actually plugs into the positive. So by the time it gets down here, the negative is actually the positive and the positive is actually the negative, which happens to work out because when you plug them in, as you can see, negative, which is my positive, goes to the positive, and the negative goes to the negative. So it works out in my case, but just be cautious that you're feeding positive and negative correctly. Yak-Power does a great job of labeling the ports. So there's the S for the stern, which is going to be the Burley Pro orb. There we go. We'll just lay that there. I'm going to build a cable for the power for the USB. So I built myself a power supply cable for the USB. Pretty simple. One of the connectors that Yak-Power supplies, or you can purchase separately. Okay, there's our positive, negative, again, I said we're going to use port number 2 for the USB power. Simply plug in there. Let's get our unit tucked back up underneath. Cables out of the way. how we fit. It's in there. I've hooked up the battery. Now let's test it out, see how it works. To activate or to power up the controller, you see the little power symbol. Oh, that's a start. That's perfect. The number 2 would be the USB port, but we're not going to show much on that. But I plugged in the Burley Pro orb. Let's see how that works. Perfect. That's going to wrap up this segment of installing the Yak-Power into the Hobie Compass. Only a couple things left to do on my compass. One is the next segment is going to be installing the Lowrance Elite TI with total scan and installing the power pole. Thanks for watching.